Chaos, chairs, and cages. These three C's summarize Los Slamtos in a nutshell, but we're here to present you with the full official recap and review right here at Prairie Pro Wrestling. So hello, PPW Nation. We are the Video Bros, your commentary team that you hear every Saturday. My name is Bobby Munson, and the man sitting beside me, if you don't know it yet, you'll know it after this. He's the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Saturday. How you doing, brother?
Woo! Happy Saturday to you, Munson, and to all the PPW Nation and all the wrestling people out there. How y'all doing tonight? Let's talk some PPW Los Slamtos.
Yeah, you bet, Papa Smokes. There's a lot to talk about. This was the last stop on the way to the Ring of Horrors 4, and a lot unfolded here, Papa Smokes. A lot to talk about, a lot to jam-pack into here, but before we get rolling, if you love Prairie Pro Wrestling content, you love indie wrestling content, you want to help us out, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below. Give this video a thumbs up, turn on the notification bell, and leave us a comment. Looking forward to those comments. Looking forward to getting back to you. And Papa Smokes, where do you want to even start with Los Slamtos, man? This was chaos all across the board, including the nation themselves. And maybe that's a good starting point is look right up there above me. You see that beautiful shot of the PPW Nation that was on hand a week ago, Saturday, in attendance to watch Los Slamtos live. And what a show they were treated to, Papa Smokes, in that arena. It was great to see the nation back. Your initial thoughts of seeing the nation and everything in general, how that night felt.
Well, the PPW fans never disappoint because they show up in huge numbers. They pack our venue, the Cosmo Hall, just off Broadway in Saskatoon. They drink, they cheer, they heckle, they have a good time. And the PPW Nation always makes me proud to be part of this wrestling organization and part of this Saskatoon wrestling community. A lot of us are the same people that come out each time, but we get new people each time too. And it's a pleasure to watch the nation grow.
Yeah, it really is. I was happy to be there, Papa Smokes. See a lot of new faces, many of the great faces that we see there every single time. And, you know, I usually get the opportunity to kick these reviews off with talking about the next show coming up and when tickets will become available and all this stuff. Well, we kind of have to do this in a totally different fashion here, Papa Smokes, because, yes, we are back with live pro wrestling action on Saturday, October 25th, the biggest show of our calendar year. It's the Ring of Horrors 4. And this one titled Steel Cage Challenge. We will get to the reason why when we get to the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But Papa Smokes, this was a huge announcement. Tickets went on sale Monday morning at 9 a.m. Saskatchewan time, and before 11 a.m. Saskatchewan time, we were 100% sold out on the reserve seating, and we are well sold on the general admission standing room tickets. So I am making this my warning to the PPW Nation. If you have not secured a ticket to Prairie Pro Wrestling's Ring of Horrors 4, what are you waiting for? Your chances are getting thinner by the second. Reach out to us on social media today to secure your standing room ticket because, yes, the seats sold in record-breaking fashion, Papa Smokes.
And that's the PPW Nation that we've grown to love over the years because they value all of our events. They want to show up, and they know now to get their tickets in advance because there's so many people that want to come, but only so much room. So cheers to all you fans that watched when the tickets were going to go on sale, logged on early enough to get theirs, to get those very precious and few seats that might have been left an hour after they went on sale. And yeah, that's the nation. That's our fans right there. They know to get them early, and they're going to do it.
They did, and it's going to be fantastic. That is going to be one packed arena, Papa Smokes. I can't wait. So excited for the Ring of Horrors 4. We're going to talk a little bit more about that towards the end here, kind of get people psyched for that. But let's start off with what we saw at Los Slamtos. 7 matches, kind of 7 matches. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But essentially 7 matches booked on this card across the board. We started off with singles competition where we had Levi Knight taking on Riley Cruz in a very solid, very well done opener between these two. We saw great progression again from Riley Cruz as he continues to climb up the chain. Great new in-ring gear for Riley Cruz as well, too, looking very sharp in his new ring gear as well. And Levi Knight, you can tell the more and more we see him out there, the better he is getting, the sharper he's getting to the ring. Great way to start the night off. The crowd was very hot. Excellent way to kick things off this night.
Very much so. And when Levi Knight comes out to that disco music and doing his dances, and he's got his flashing earrings and his wild outfit on, it gets the fans invested. The fans are wondering who this guy is, and if they're wondering if they like him or not. But he comes out with an arrogant attitude as though he's above everybody else in the venue. Then Riley Cruz comes out. This guy's a hometown hero right here. Mm-hmm. He's playing some heavy metal. He's banging his head. He's doing the air guitar. It's almost impossible not to get caught up in the charisma of Riley Cruz. You could tell that the Saskatoon fans for PPW Nation want to get behind Riley Cruz. He's got that energy. He's got that enthusiasm. He wrestles high impact and very quickly with a lot of moves in that ring. And against Levi Knight, it's an interesting matchup as well, because Levi Knight having that experience over Riley Cruz, but also Levi Knight having that sense of overconfidence, I would say sometimes, when he should be following up on his downed opponent. He's sometimes doing his dance moves. He's sometimes doing his hip thrusts off the mat and that sort of thing. He's getting under the skin of his opponent, but he shows that overconfidence, and Riley Cruz exploited that a number of times during this match.
He sure did. Ended up picking up a very massive victory as he continues to climb the ladder in Prairie Pro Wrestling, also being named as a number one contender to the PPW Championship. We talked about how that match was inevitably supposed to take place at Los Slamtos. That wasn't the case. There was a switcheroo, kind of. We will get to that. That all ties into our main event that we're going to talk about here very shortly. Right after this one, talking about PPW Academy graduates, Morris Waltz was in action, or shall I say marvelous Morris Waltz was in action, but against a returning PPW wrestler, so one of the most how do you describe this man, Papa Spokes? The best pro wrestler on the indie scene today. Doesn't matter where in the world you go. We're talking about the renegade Sean Moore returning to Prairie Pro Wrestling, and what a ruckus roar from the crowd when they heard Sean Moore was there to take on Marvelous Morris Waltz. And then we got the matchup. We got a solid matchup here, and I expect nothing less when Sean Moore steps in the ring. Morris Waltz has been continuing to get better and better progressively as he gets these reps in, gets these matches in, and man, he was in tough against one of the absolute finest in that ring, but he held his own. This was a tough fought match between both competitors. Sean Moore got away with the win, but man, did Marvelous Morris Waltz put on one of his best, if not his best performance he has done since debuting in Prairie Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Munson. I joined in with the PPW Nation in that roar when I saw Sean Moore coming out, because what a comeback and what a return. You and I have enjoyed his matches for a long time around these parts in Saskatoon for the previous company that used to run here, and then also for PPW. You and I have called a whole bunch of Sean Moore's matches before too, and we've seen him come from the rookie into the terror that he is now in the ring. Man, this guy is intense. He's so skilled. He's so athletic. And he's got that awesome wrestling attitude coming out. He's got that intensity that just really, really brings it to his opponent every time. You would kind of think that Sean Moore will roll over a lot of his opponents, and he does around the indie circuit. But Morris Waltz not having that. This is a guy that's built of some special stuff. Also, he's got a huge potential and a huge intensity in the ring also. And he had Sean Moore backing up from those kicks and those strikes a couple of times throughout this match. That kind of tells you the kind of power and the kind of speed that Morris Waltz gets with those taekwondo kicks that are just razor sharp and perfectly accurate. So wow, I kind of had the feeling that Sean Moore was gonna dominate in this match, but Morris Waltz, wow, he's really, really coming along, and you can see that confidence building. Yes, Waltz didn't come away with the victory in this one, but not anything to be ashamed of to lose to Sean Moore, not whatsoever, not for anyone on the indie circuit. And he can be proud of this match at the end of it. Waltz as a competitor wanted to win this one, but against Sean Moore, that's a real tough one.
You bet it was. But yeah, great matchup that we had there. And keep rolling along with PPW Academy graduates. Our next match was a singles match. It was Bucky McGraw, who last time out we saw in singles competition losing to one Rich King, wants to get back to winning ways, Papa Smoke, so he can continue to climb up that card and re-educate the masses. Taking on recent PPW Academy graduate, having his very first singles matchup for PPW, Chris Nasty. And I'll tell you, there was a couple times in this match where Nasty really did take it to the veteran Bucky McGraw and made a strong attempt to try to upset the matchup. In the end, unfortunately for Nasty, the experienced Bucky McGraw just got the better of him, ended up picking up the win, albeit due to nefarious means, but still picked up the W at the end of the day. And then the beatdown came from the Brotherhood afterwards. They come out and Nasty got a rude awakening into Prairie Pro Wrestling before King Richter came to stop the fight.
Yeah, and that can be expected for rookie wrestlers. They're not going to get treated as well. They're going to take some losses. They're going to take a few beatings and everything. That's part of those reps that you mentioned, getting the practice, getting more matches against different opponents, different styles all the time. Nasty is just starting out in this business. The fans have seen very little of him so far. We got a glimpse of him at Beer Wars, but this was Cosmo Hall's first look at Chris Nasty. And I got to say, the PPW Nation, even though they weren't familiar with his ring style or anything like that, gave him an excellent welcome. And they were all over cheering him, partly because he's against Bucky McGraw, of course, who is a hated villain in PPW, but also because let's just get behind this guy. He seems to have a good attitude. He seems to have the enthusiasm that it might take to get through PPW with some wins. And again, Chris Nasty not coming up with the win in this, one of his first matches in PPW, but nothing to be ashamed of. I can guarantee you that he learned a lot as a wrestler facing Bucky McGraw on that night, and I'd say put in a pretty good showing for himself.
I'd agree with you there, Papa Smokes. Our fourth match up was a tag team match. We had Paralira, who are still trying to get themselves back into that tag team title picture, wanting to get a crack at the Short Kings, and potentially, who knows, Papa Smokes, maybe they'll call their shot at the Ring of Horrors. We're yet to find out what the official tag team title match is for the Ring of Horrors, but Paralira needed to get onto a winning streak here. They needed to pick up a big W, but they were going to be met with difficult competition because not only is one of their opponents T.Y. Jackson, who's been racking up the W's here in PPW, but he brought in with him his tag team partner, a returning from injury and back from his training in Mexico, Lucha Phil Deadly, Saskatoon's favorite wrestler, Papa Smokes. Speaking about returns, how happy were you to see Phil Deadly back in Saskatoon?
Extremely happy. As happy as the whole Cosmo Hall there. Boy, did they erupt in a giant cheer when they realized that Phil Deadly was coming out to the ring. And this tag team of Deadly and T.Y. Jackson is really quite something.
Yeah.
They have different styles, but they mesh very, very well. T.Y. very adept at aerial maneuvers and stuff like that. Phil Deadly, a well-rounded wrestler in all categories. And Paralira, you know that they were looking for that big win, but T.Y. Jackson and Phil Deadly, a very, very tough combo to get past.
Very much so. They put up one hell of a fight for a first outing as a tag team. They showed up very well for each other. And, again, if they decided to continue this tag team formation, I could see great things on the horizon for them. But Paralera did get the better of them, getting that big W. Murder was had, Papa Smokes, and unfortunately, nobody getting up from that murder. But they also were murdering it with the sales of Jacked and Juicy grapefruit beers up in Saskatoon, which sold out to nobody's shock at all there, Papa Smokes. You sell liquor in Saskatoon, especially at a pro wrestling show, you're guaranteed you ain't going home with any liquor at the end of the night.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to try one of those beers, Munson? Just the title alone and the source that it comes from just makes you want to get jacked and juicy with the boys.
I wanted to try one, but do you believe for a second the Sheik Akbar Shabazz or Barack Garani are looking my way to offer me up a sample of Jacked and Juicy grapefruit lager, Pop Smoke? So they would rather have to kiss their foot before I get an opportunity to taste that Jacked and Juicy grapefruit lager.
Well, maybe you better do that because the boys slipped me one and I drank it and quite enjoyed it. So very good product they've got there. And boy, those Jacked and Juicy t-shirts continue to fly out of the Cosmo Hall. The fans love them. I have one myself, Munson.
It's wild, Papa Smokes. It's the guys they love to hate. And we saw that too as Barat making his way down ringside with all the Jacked and Juicy cans was kind of fist bumping fans. Well, Sheik's still not quite accoladed to the idea of having cynical fans actually enjoy him after all the hate that's been thrown his way over the years. But anyways, yes, Jacked and Juicy, if you get an opportunity to pick up a can, if they have it at the next show, get yourself one. Support independent wrestlers and all the merchandise and all the stuff that they put out all the time. Get yourself a shirt, autograph, picture, whatever it is. Always support your local indie wrestlers. Match number 5, Papa Smokes. After the intermission, we had a debut versus a debut, at least in the PPW side. These are two wrestlers who have been on the scene for a few years now, at least over in Alberta, at various places in Saskatchewan, all across the West. First of all, shout out to Basser who called it. He said he would love to see the star child Christian Star in Prairie Pro Wrestling, and that opportunity came about this last Saturday at Los Slamtos, but his opponent also making a PPW debut. It is Relentless Riley Rose, and Papa Smokes, I'm going to call it now. This probably was, and I've seen it back because I've got the editing done, possibly my match of the night. It really was. This was a very solid match between these two. It was exciting. It was different from the other matches on the card. It also, again, brought two faces we hadn't seen to Prairie Pro Wrestling at the same time. I think the fans were enjoying it. I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed watching it back personally, and I think the fans agree. And I had several come up and say it. They said, well, the exact words were, we like Christian Star, bring him back. We love Relentless Riley Rose. Do anything, move mountains if you have to make sure Relentless Riley Rose comes back to Prairie Pro Wrestling, were the exact words spoken by the PPW Nation to me.
Yeah, that's the vibe that I got after the show too, talking with a few of the fans and a few other people too. What an interesting match this was too, and I'm always glad when PPW tries out some new talent, brings some new people in, and you know how much that the PPW Nation love their favorites. They want their regular wrestlers. They like the ones that they know. They want to see more of them. They want them on every show. But our fans also appreciate seeing some new and different talent sometimes. We've had a couple of debuts over the last couple of shows, and this, I would say, was one of the more successful ones as well. Christian Star looking good, looking like he's in the beginning of his career, but showing a whole bunch of potential, and I like that a whole bunch. But I echo the feelings of the PPW Nation as well in Riley Rose, really looking good. She's the kind of wrestler that you can see when she gets in there. She gets it. She knows how to interact with the fans. She knows how to interact with her opponent and the referee. She really shows a nice confidence out there. She's not nervous. She does her stuff very, very well. I can see all kinds of potential for her in PPW, and I would love to see her back in our federation on a regular basis. Let's get Riley Rose regularly in PPW. I would love to see that also.
I wholeheartedly agree, Papa Smokes. Again, it comes down to the booking managers of PPW, whether or not that happens. Again, and it also depends on Riley Rose's schedule, because somebody that good isn't always going to be available, because there's many companies that are going to be seeking talent of that level. But Riley Rose getting the big W here on first debut of PPW. What a great matchup. And again, like I said, maybe my match of the night. Match number 6, Papa Smokes, was a tag team match. We had the Brotherhood taking on King Richter, a match we saw a few times over our busy weekend there in July. But again, the more I see King Richter, the more I'm starting to really see them as a tag team in PPW. Again, they haven't quite grasped that victory yet, and they didn't get it on this night either, but they're going up against very well-established teams within the realms of Prairie Pro Wrestling, and King Richter are starting to really shine, especially in this matchup. There was glimpses of great teamwork, cutting the ring off, isolating the Brotherhood at times, really doing the work in order to try to get themselves the W. Again, this is one of those teams where I'm going to say it. There are short one victory before they start to escalate into the top of PPW's tag team division.
I think you could be right about that. And you can see that the fans are starting to take to King Richter as a team quite a lot, because when Rich King first came to PPW, he had a bit of an attitude, a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't so popular with the fans. But as of late, he's kind of changed his attitude. Mm-hmm. And wow, he's got a built-in charisma to him. And you can see that the PPW Nation has taken to this. And King is very much has that charisma that translates over to the fans. Richter, slightly less so, but he's a workhorse in the ring. So that makes a good tag team. They're kind of one of those tag teams that's a matching pair. They're both bald, beautiful men. They both are workout guys, body guys, very strong, very flexible and all that, but they work very, very well as a team. And to me, it seems that the only thing holding them back at this point is that they haven't teamed up regularly and often enough to have that kind of instinctual teamwork, and that knowing what each other is going to do before they do it. They just haven't quite polished up that chemistry perfectly yet, but you can see that it's a work in progress and it's coming along. So I think that all the tag teams in the PPW tag team division had better keep an eye on King Richter and had better watch their backs, because this new team coming in is going to try and take its place amongst the top 3 tag teams in PPW, that being the Short Kings, the Brotherhood, and the Clandestine Society, and Paralira. Now there's 4 top teams. So King Richter really want to crack into that. I think they've come a long way towards doing it. I think they're close now.
You bet. Yeah, it's only a matter of time, Papa Smokes. But speaking of time, we got to get to the final match, or as we know it, the main event of the evening. This match scheduled for one fall. And for the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship. Now let's lay the land here, Papa Smokes. We start the evening out at Los Slamtos. They're coming out to talk about Riley Cruz is the #1 contender for the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship, having won that first battle royal over at Beer Wars. Out comes El Asesino, the Mexican Devil, and once again, stomp, stomp, stomp. I never get booked. I never get my championship. With typical El Asesino fashion, I'm going to continue to hurt people until I do. Along comes our champion, Michael Allen Richard Clark, and he graciously says, I'm here. I'm ready to wrestle. I've got the belt. Let's do this then. Make it official. It gets made official. Crash Crimson makes it official for the top of the night. El Asesino now seems PO'd about this whole thing. Of course, typical El Asesino fashion. He gets what he wants, and he's got to stomp his feet about it. So here we go. Main event time. We don't even get a goddamn match, Pop Smokes. This lunatic goes ballistic before this thing ever kicks off. He, first of all, wouldn't get inside the ring at all. He kept just staying on the outside of the ring, not allowing the match to start, running through the crowd, pushing people in the audience, causing all sorts of mayhem, but staying away from the champion who wanted to fight. Michael Allen was fired up. He was ready to get in there and really lay the grounds. But El Asesino kept saying, I didn't bring my ring gear. I'm not prepared. I'm not doing this on your time. I am not fighting you tonight. And people are losing their minds. There was beer cans thrown. There was people spitting at El Asesino. And I don't condone these things. We tell you guys to not go this far because it can get out of hand. And this was starting to borderline get out of hand here, Pops, folks. And man, things got very out of hand. And that this will start to explain why you've been seeing me in this damn thing this whole night. I've got a clip to show you from the mayhem of this entire thing. Now, I'm going to stop it there because the next part actually reveals what we're going to be seeing at the Ring of Horrors. But two things. First of all, that SOB finally laid his hands on me. I got my head just about kicked right off there, hit the concrete. Yeah, I ran my mouth. I get it, Papa Smokes. I understand I put myself in the line of fire. But I'm not going to hold back my feelings about how I feel when people do dastardly things. But I don't wholeheartedly only hold El Asesino and myself responsible in this situation. And as you see towards the end of that video, Papa Smokes, Mr. Drake got taken out. Ref Richard got taken out. Ref Jason was taken out. I was taken out. All of these people were taken out, Papa Smokes. I know you weren't because we know about your close personal relationship with the Mexican Devil. However, I'm going to start calling this segment moving forward the Crimson Conspiracy, because there was one other man left standing at the end of this night. And I don't believe for a second that El Asesino does not have it in him to lay his hands on anybody who stands in his way or truly stands in his way. And I'm starting to have my thoughts that the director of operations and talent relations, Crash Crimson, and his long-standing old school relationship that he once had with the Mexican Devil, I believe these two have been in cahoots for a while, Pop Smokes. I have nothing but that evidence on the screen that I showed to show it right now, but I have a theory, and I'm running with it. I don't believe that Crash Crimson has been holding back the title shot from El Asesino on purpose. I think the two of them have been pulling the strings to lure the champion into the cage match that was announced for the Ring of Horrors. I believe that Crash Crimson and El Asesino are pulling the wool over the champ's eyes with the plans to steal the title at Ring of Horrors.
Well, you just won't give it up, William Munson. After all the things that have happened, you've taken some responsibility for getting this all going between yourself and El Asesino. But the way I look at it, you've got a new little item of clothing around your neck for a reason. You look like you had a couple of your vertebrae ripped out of your neck. That's for a reason too. And you say that you blame other people other than yourself for this. I can't get down with that, Munson. I think you're completely to blame for this. I think that you've just poked a dog with a sharp stick so many times that it turned around and bit you. That's exactly what happened. Now, Asesino has been a frustrated wrestler anyway for months and months, years even in PPW, wanting that title shot, deserving it, coming out and working hard on every single card and never getting any consideration for a PPW title shot. Now, he's finally started to strong arm his way into getting a title shot. What other recourse did he have? He's watched everyone leapfrog him in the line towards getting a shot. When the Sheik was champion, he fought many wrestlers on the roster, but never El Assassino. When Colton Kelly was the champion, he never fought Assassino. And Michael Allen Richard Clark has thus far ducked El Assassino also. So the frustration is just built up there, Munson. And you know that he's going to let it out on somebody. The PPW management that you mentioned before, and the little ringside table boy that rings the bell. That's you, by the way, Munson. Chirping him from afar and all that. I think you got what you deserved. I don't want to see you get hurt, Munson, but I think you also got what you deserved.
I'm not saying I didn't, Bob Suppose. I ran my mouth. I could take my lumps like a man. I get it. But I don't think I'm wrong when it comes to the Crimson Conspiracy, and I'm rolling with it. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't know if anybody else wants to believe me, but I think that there's something fishy going on, and I believe that it all boils down to the Ring of Horrors and the steel cage matchup. Yes, Michael Allen Richard Clark requested the steel cage, but I believe that the scene has been set since last year's Ring of Horrors along the path. Find a way to continuously get under the skin of the champion, continuously beat him down, beat him down, beat him down, and then lure him into this matchup. This one where El Assassino purposely stayed away, making it so that Michael Allen Richard Clark could not get his hands on him, forcing Michael Allen Richard Clark to come up to the only solution that he could come up with, and that is to lock himself inside a cage at the Ring of Horrors with the Mexican Devil. I believe this is not only what El Assassino has wanted this whole time, I believe it's what Crash Crimson's wanted.
Okay, well, I can't find fault in your actual theory here, Munson. It's a little inflammatory towards the Crash Crimson. I don't think he's going to love hearing about this or this suggestion that he's somehow in his management position within Prairie Pro Wrestling, somehow buttering his own bread through that position. I don't think he's going to appreciate that. But I think you're probably right about El Assassino that he set a trap. He put a lure out there and he lured Michael Allen Richard Clark right into his grasp and right into the cage, right? He brought him, it's the perfect trap. He's got him trapped in a cage. And we know the success that El Assassino has had in these specialty matches, the tables, ladders, chairs match. He had a tables match against Cannonball Kelly. El Assassino thrives in these kinds of matches. They are his sadistic playground. And now he's got Clark just where he wants him, not only in the ring, not only with that beautiful green and gold belt on the line, but in a steel cage. First time ever for PPW. How exciting is this for us, and how exciting is this for the PPW nation? But Michael Allen Richard Clark, are you looking at the twilight of your championship reign? I think you might be, and it might come at Halloween time, Ring of Horrors #4. Your days just might be numbered, Clark.
It's going to be interesting to see. Nonetheless, a lot of people are going to be on hand. It's going to be a sold-out show for sure, Paul's folks. Like we said, all the seats sold. Many of the general admissions sold. Message today to get your opportunity to see the first steel cage match that's been held in Saskatoon in maybe a decade or more, Paul's folks. If we think about it,
yeah, there was one at Battle Arts for HIW some years ago at the Sutherland Curling Club. And that turned out pretty well. That was a multi-man match. I remember that when I was sitting in the crowd for it. That's before we were commentators. But yes, many, many years since that match. I know the fans want it. I know they're going to find it fun to have a big match like that, an actual cage set up in our little venue there just for our fans, just for our devout fans who come and buy the tickets the second they go on sale. None of them want to miss this action. None of them want to miss what could be a very historic wrestling title match in the province of Saskatchewan.
You bet, Bob, as well, because it is going to set records. People are going to be talking about this one for years to come. Make sure that you do not miss out. Very minimal ticketing left. Reach out to us today. Get your general admission standing room tickets and be part of Prairie Pro Wrestling's Ring of Horrors. Overall, Papa Smokes, Los Slamtos, despite how I felt at the end of the night at Los Slamtos, got what I deserved. I get it. But the overall night, hell of a night. The PPW Nation showed up. They stayed strong throughout the whole goddamn night. Beers were sold. They were consumed. We had a great time. The wrestlers had a great time. We thank each and every one of you, the PPW Nation, for turning up every single time for us. We had a blast. Papa Smokes, we are at the end of the program. I'm going to throw up that ticker of yours right there. Let people know where they can reach out to Papa Smokes.
Oh, sure. I could be found on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland, known as X. I am at smokes_papa. Also on Twitch at papa_smokes_.
That's for Papa Smokes. As for myself, Bobby Munson on the X. It's real Bobby Munson. Instagram and Threads. You find us Video Bros SK. Twitch Video Bro _Bobby Munson. And I am on Blue Sky BobbyMunson.bsky.social. And you're going to be able to come back here next Saturday to join us for more Prairie Pro Wrestling action. We are going to get the very second encounter between the Short Kings and Paralira. This time around, the titles are not on the line. Paralira needs to come up with a victory if they want to find themselves in the title picture again. We will find out the answer to that when you join us next Saturday. But that's it from myself, from Papa Smokes, and all of PPW management. We wish you a happy Saturday, and we'll see you 1 week's time. Take care.